And the magic thing about the world we live in is that you become an expert by the content you publish. Social proof, as it's called. Then it's social media. Social media is important depending what you do. B2B, there's pretty much only Quora, a little bit Reddit, more for the US. Quora, kind of universal, Middle East as well. And if not, Facebook and all that, not that relevant. LinkedIn is very expensive for advertising, but it's good like to publish and get your stuff out. The first test that you should do is start writing content. If you can't write content, if you can't sound like an expert, you need to do a bit more research. Emails. Most of the things, I work with a lot of founders, and most of the things that I see is that people don't know how to write emails. They're annoying, they're long, they include your entire life, and obviously they don't turn to any sort of sale. So I'm going to show you just some small examples about it. Then we'll talk about timing. There's a time when you should call, there's a time when you should email, and that is based on the role and on the type of targeting that you want to do in B2B. Okay, become an expert by providing social proof. This is why. Oh, no, here, yes. Here, yes. So as you can see, this is what modern sales looks like. It's more about being the trusted advisor, being the go-to person, being the expert, than it is about being the salesperson. Now, a company that has grown incredibly over the past, 6, 7, 8 years, is called Palantir. It's a defense contractor, and they also do a bunch of other software solutions. Now, what they innovated is they innovated the sales cycle through something called forward deployed engineer. So they don't have any salespeople, they just send out their engineers to sell. Sounds stupid, right? Well, it kind of adds up to about 10 billion in revenue, because it's not. Maybe the managers don't fully understand what they're talking about, but what the managers do understand is that they're talking to an expert, and that expert is going to come back with solutions. And that you can see now across the board. Another piece of information that's not here is 3 years ago, when you were buying a software solution priced under $5,000 a year total cost of ownership, outside of the sales cycle, about 16% of the actions the user take happened before they started to talk to a sales rep. Today, 64% of the action the user takes happens before they talk to a sales rep. So every website that you see contact us on, or you don't see a pricing, or there's no checkout flow that's ready for you, it's not doing well. You always have like an enterprise, like talk to us because you have something really custom and we can't really predict what you're talking about. But if there's no pricing, if there's no SaaS model, then it's pretty much not going to make a lot of money, right? So this is how we do the content pipeline. This is much better than I could ever present it. This is the explanation how you turn one article into 64 pieces of content. Again, something else happened in the shift of communication is if before it used to be, okay, send out this tweet at 2 o'clock, send out this Facebook post at 4 o'clock. Now it's across the board. 12 p.m. in the time zone, it should be when all the content goes out. Don't ask me why, but apparently that's what it is. Times has disappeared. They didn't disappear for calling, but they did disappear for posting. Pretty interesting. All right, cool. Back. Oh, here it is. Yes. Okay, cool. So this is how a content pipeline looks. So this is pretty much what we did at first. This is how we validated everything. So you find the relevant questions in Quora that your product answers. Something that's business related, not technicals, just business related. Then you put it on your blog, if you have a blog. If not, go do a blog. Then from Quora, you repost manually by copy paste on LinkedIn, but you don't link back to Quora because link backs get penalties. So you duplicate the same content on both platforms, Medium if you like Medium. And then what happened is we took it on to SocialB, and from SocialB we published it on these channels and also posted it on Hacker News. Now all of this went to a Google Sheet. We did this using IFTTT. It went to Google Sheet to have like so we can follow the trends and all that stuff. And from there it went to Reddit because Reddit is very good for hashtags. So the hashtag that you post on Reddit, they're very business relevant for one. I'm going to show you in a second how business relevant. You're not going to believe it. But secondly, it's a good driver of cross-posting. So cross-posting being omni-channel in B2B has become synonymous to having a good product. So this does a very good job at aggregating your hashtags, which is very important for later. So this is a bunch of tools for you guys to use, for everyone. Everyone should know all of these. You should have them always. And okay, don't take a photo of me. So CrowdTangle, this is pretty cool. This is how the content flows. You can also follow your content if you want to pay for it. If not, just follow other people's content so you see how the media flows. SpyFu is a very good tool. You're going to see it in a second how we use it. And Answer the Public, this is more like a generating search queries based on existing search queries. So for example, if you want to look for enterprise resource planning like us, it gives you if how to or what if is higher in what you want to do. Google lies to you a lot to optimize the money that you spend, but this is more crowdsourced, so it's a bit more accurate. So this is SpyFu. This is from one of our customers. So you put in the URL of your customer, and then you start to see, this is like when you're trying to find your market, right? You're coming to Founders Institute and you want to know a lot more about your market. You just start with simple stuff, right? Like you see the SEO, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So obviously 96%, they don't care a lot about paid ads. This means that this type of product does not sell through ads, because if a company that has 500 million revenue is not spending on paid acquisition, it means the paid acquisition doesn't really add up to what they need. Then we go further. All right, so we go a little lower, and then we extract the ads that they use, and then you can see side-by-side comparisons of what ads they use and how they performed. Everybody has a little bit of paid ads, and it's very interesting because this to you, this is, okay, you're not going to do paid ads because you're poor, what's important is that you see the language. So the language that you see here has gone to tens and hundreds of iterations, and you can just pick it up for free for yourself, right? You just replace 2-3 things there, but you can be sure they optimized the shit out of it, because otherwise they wouldn't be paying. And now you're going to see, okay, now you're going to see the interesting fact, right? So check it out. A B2B company that does enterprise software, their main source of traffic, 10 million from Reddit. Who'd have thought? Like from Reddit, 10 million clicks, or they all came from Reddit. This means that their content position and positioning is much more important than paid and SEO. So this means that your content positioning should be more important than your SEO. See? So all of a sudden, lucky for you, it's free to create content. You can write it yourself, or you can learn to write it, or whatever. But this shows that it's just an initial focus of where your efforts should be going early stage. Cool. Now, very important. See? Nobody cares what you tweet. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to post all day long, especially in the beginning. Just post everything you can, anything you can, anywhere you can, because nobody cares, right? It's only your blog. And Quora is kind of your blog, so it's kind of the same. It's kind of 1 year lifetime, but it's close by. See? So keep on posting. Be everywhere. Yes, this is the first thing that we did when we launched our product, is we created all these pages everywhere. Why? I have no idea, but right now, the problem was you are searching, the name of my company is Nowlogic. Now, and when you were searching Nowlogic, we were constantly being beat on the first page by a Cambodian soup. Yeah, you see images of soup. So what we did is we started just creating profiles and just using the content funnel to post a few things. 0 effort, $0 cost. And now the first 3 pages on Google, when you type Nowlogic, are just us. We beat the soup, and there's a rapper from Japan as well who's kind of doing well. We got to see about that. Yes, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. This should be like your Bible. So you should go to this a few times a day. So your landing page is pretty much everything about your business, and most of the time in the early stages it is your business. Now, the guidelines of your landing page sucks are really, really good. The first off, what I always remember, no effects, no flying buttons, no more, those are more Indian effects, none of that. Cool. Unbounce. Yes, unbounce, this is if you have this is more for B2C and products, like you have a physical product. If you want to prepare for like a big product product hunt campaign or beta list campaign or whatever. You need unbounce because you need a lot more analytics, and Google kind of sucks these days. So unbounce does a very good job at running those analytics. All right, cool. Personas. Personas for emails. This is very important because if you don't know your user, obviously you've heard this 1,000 times, and it's as boring as it sounds, but if you don't know your user, then you don't know who to talk to and how to talk to them. Now, knowing your user is hard because users always tell you what they need. Users always tell you what they want, but they don't really know what they need because it's very confusing, especially for me at least. That was that was a lot of fun. So also you need to know these because this is going to decide where you put your money when it comes to your funnel. This is going to decide where does the manual typing start, or where do you intervene with a written email, and where you continue your just funneling through traffic, right? If it's a marketing qualified lead, which is like really low chances of buying, and no need for manual intervention because you waste your time. If it's a more qualified, then you need to go in yourself and say, hey, I'm the CEO, how can I help you, and whatnot. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is also really good emails. Remember this? So this is something to remember. Really good emails. Really good emails is samples from emails from every big company and startups. So it's a really good source of inspiration when you're trying to search for very specific emails. Now, this is where we go back to the content strategy. Your content strategy is your sales funnel now. And in order to not be annoying and you get those stupid emails, it's like, my company does apps, blah, 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 do you want any? And then you say in the second one, hey, I think you didn't see my email. Yeah, we all saw your email, but it doesn't matter. So this is how you start being useful for a change. So you send some interesting content that's related to them or is related to their product, or even if you're smart enough and you think that lead is a good lead, you do something highly specific. You can do this with something called Loom Video, where you can film your screen. You can film your screen and it films your head as well, free as well. And then you can just send your customer a video of what you think about, I don't know, their website or how their system could work if they were using your SaaS platform or stuff like that. If not, just do really good emails and maximum 3 emails per thread. So all of that, I think you didn't get my email, you get my email, forget about it. Yep.
Can you repeat the name of the tool?
Of the what?
That you can film yourself.
Loom. L-O-O-M. Loom Video. Yep. Cool. So you're starting to send emails. You're starting to see who gets back to you, who doesn't get back to you. Most people don't get back to you, but it's important to know who and what. Now, when you look at, there's a tool called Yesware, which is this icon right here. So there's a tool called Yesware where you just installs, it's an extension, Chrome extension, installs in your Gmail, and then you can see the open rates and the click-through rates. If you don't want to pay, if you're that cheap, you can use Google Analytics with a GTM code, and you put that in your little logo at the bottom, and then you can track it using Google Analytics if you're cheap. If not, Yesware is better. 35 bucks saves you the headache. Now, the first thing to test, and that's why you look at ads, that's why you use Spyfoo. To look at ads, you take the text from the ads and you start testing out your subject lines. Now, your subject lines give you your open rate if people are interested. One thing to remember, if you have a typo in your subject, there's a higher chance of having an open email, which is pretty cool. Now, before 55% open rate, your content doesn't matter. So the content in email doesn't matter because it sucks. So this means that your subject line sucks and 55 is way too low. Your open rate should be at least 60% for a good subject line. Now, click-through rate 20. If you have a 60 open rate, 20 click-through, which clicks through whatever you put there, maybe a link to your website, maybe a link to subscribe directly. That usually doesn't work. Emojis work very well. And then a 4% reply rate. That's pretty much when you figured out what exactly that you're doing, and this means that you've actually figured out your audience. So you know who you're emailing and they're replying quite often. 4% is a good rate. So don't get discouraged if those 20 emails go out. Before 1,000 emails, it doesn't even matter. There's no numbers before 1,000 emails. Cool. Now, this is what we do. See? Now, I put in these little categories, so ignore this because people are just going to put you in spam. So the first 3 is all you have, right? So this is where it comes back to your entire content strategy. This is where you have to have interesting content to give back. You want to do webinars, you want to do articles, especially webinars. People don't really go to webinars, but they like to see that you have webinars. Maybe they open it for like a minute or so, but having them is a good validation that you know what you're doing. Ignore these 2 because we've had really bad results with them. Cool. Keep this in mind. This is very important, and read this book if you haven't read it yet. It's a very important book. Very important. Yes. Now, if you're brave enough to do cold calls, and I recommend everybody do cold calls at least once in their life. It's a traumatizing experience. You have to know when to actually do the calls, because you cannot just call whenever you want, right? So this kind of goes back to emails, like the moment where you send out emails and the moment when you call is, don't forget this one, I did. Also, don't call executives on a Sunday. It does not work. But this is for emails as well. This is a good timings for emails, and depending on who you want to target. If you're targeting executives, you have to go to the end of the schedule, or you have to go to the weekend. If you're targeting operational people, you have to check in these hours right here. Of course, it adapts differently to different jobs depending on what they do. Mostly, you want to get people right before the lunch break. Cool. Soft touch, hard touch. This is important because as part of social proof, social validation and all that, everybody uses a bunch of social networks. Don't go to, if you're selling to businesses, don't go on Facebook because that's just creepy. But if you're not selling on Facebook, you can go to anything else. Now, sending an email and then programming a soft touch 1.5 weeks later where you like a post on LinkedIn, or you maybe send a connection request or stuff like that. That works pretty good. Sending out an email, watching for open rate, and when it opens, go click on LinkedIn. That also works pretty well. Then you see a scene, right? And it's kind of a trigger to remember that they received an email because they read it and they're not replying, right? So that's like a soft way to say, yeah. And then you can be an asshole and message everybody. I don't know what to say. It didn't work for us. It might work for you. Yes, long game. Long game is based on content, because this is one of the ways where you can actually be useful and not just annoying. And in the end, this will pay off. Maybe not in the beginning. Maybe you're not going to see a high click-through rate. Maybe they're not going to care at all about your content. But in the end, this is going to matter a lot, because even though your buyer is not ready to buy right this second, they will always remember who's the expert. If you can be the expert, if you actually know your stuff so well. Launch, beta list, product hunt. Good. So these are more for B2C, B2B as well if you want to have a little bit of fun, but B2C. Product hunt is important because it's a market validation, and you have a lot of startup people, especially if you have some weird little app that finds your keys or something useless, and you need people from San Francisco to tell you if it's cool, then that's the place to go. Otherwise, I don't really know much about it. Yes, very important. Depending on who here is pre-revenue. So you made zero money so far with your startup. Pre-revenue, and then post-revenue everybody else. Rich people, nice. So this is important. Until you get to a few thousand, and I mean a few thousand users, all that matters is your top funnel. Your bottom funnel doesn't matter. You have the time to optimize later. But unless you have a funnel full of problems, you don't really have what to solve. You may see that a little button is off, is might to the side, the shadow is whatever, or the little box or whatnot. It is not a problem until it's in the top funnel. Until somebody's yelling at you, it's not a problem. When they're yelling at you, this means that you start to matter. Until then, no need to change. Just go on and focus on that one core feature that you want to build. Yes, this is a good strategy. Launch and launch and launch and launch and launch. We're on our third launch already. We're going to do a lot more next year. So the same. Go to market, Start your content strategy, start your product list, product hunt, base or whatever, see what happens.